Good morning. Buenos días, my HACE familia. ¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos to today's Cafecito. Very special Cafecito, being Valentine's Day. So sending you all so much love and positive vibes on today, El Día de San Valentín. Hope you spend it with your loved ones and welcome you all to a special Cafecito today. Our guest today is Ellie Nieves. She is a leadership development strategist, women leadership speaker. She is also a vice president and assistant general counsel for strategic public policy initiatives at a Fortune 300 company and founder of Leadership Strategies for Women LLC. She is here with us today to represent our community of Afro-Latinas, celebrating and recognizing the impact and importance of Black History Month. So welcome, Ellie, to you. And we're going to hear more about you in a little bit, but I'm going to share a few announcements that we have for the HACE community and a little bit about HACE. So my name is Bernice Vargas Luna, Program Manager with HACE. HACE is the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement. It's a national nonprofit whose mission is to positively impact the American workplace by cultivating the pipeline of Latino talent. What does that mean? It's providing insight, access, and support so that we are all successful in our careers. I am a proud Chicana from Chicago, a Mujeres de HACE program alum, and an entrepreneur. And again, so excited to welcome you all today. Announcements for the day is our spring cohorts are currently enrolling. Application deadlines are this week and feature programs like El Futuro, which targets high school students in the Arizona area. Our Mujeres de HACE, which is our longest running program, 15 years plus. Our Mujeres de HACE Entrepreneurs, so for those in the 1 to 5 years of business, check that program out. Emerging Latino Leaders, and also an info session for our HACE Colores program launching soon. Our info session for that one is going to be on February 29th, called Lead with Your Whole Self. Please check that program out. Go to our website, look for the links in the chat, or go to aceonline.org and click on programs to find more information about those programs. We also have Avanza, which is the theme for our National Leadership Summit in Chicago, April 25th through the 26th at the Convene Willis Tower, or AKA Sears Tower. If you're from Chicago, it's always going to be Sears Tower for us. So if you are an ERG leader or lead others, this is an event for you. Again, go to our website to find out more information and to get your tickets. So thank you so much for holding for this announcement. Now let's hear from Ellie. Ellie, welcome, welcome. How are you? Let's start off by telling us how you like your cafecito or your morning beverage of choice.
Well, good morning, Bernice, and good morning to the HACE community. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. And Bernice, sadly, I don't drink coffee. I also don't drink tea. In the morning, I drink like a lemon tea in the evening, but I don't really have like a preferred morning beverage other than maybe orange juice.
That's good. Everybody has a different routine. I drink too much coffee. I would say I drink coffee all day, and I need to really increase my water intake. So that's my goal for 2024 is to drink more water. So thank you so much for sharing, Ellie. And please, familia, drop in the chat. Let us know how you like your cafecito. What is your morning beverage of choice? I've seen a lot of different options out there and preferences. So definitely would love to hear more about what you are drinking this morning. So Ellie, tell us about you. What is your cultural background? Where do you come from? Tell us more about you.
Absolutely. So I am a Puerto Rican from New York, or otherwise known as a New Yorican. And I was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. My parents are from Puerto Rico. My father grew up in Fajardo. My mother grew up in Santurce. And, when you have parents that were born and raised in Puerto Rico and then they move to the States, that nostalgia travels with them. So as you grow up in the household and they tell these fond stories about growing up on the island, you almost feel like the island is calling you. So you feel that pull to the island. So even though I was raised in New York, I always felt like my roots were back on the island in Puerto Rico.
Lovely. I've been to La Isla once, and it was beautiful years and years ago for when I was working in events, and it is just beautiful, and it has so much history to it, and so and the food and all of it is just lovely. So I definitely understand that pull that you feel because it warranted. So
Absolutely.
a little bit about you and your company. So you launch leadership strategies for women, and we know that Women's History Month is coming up in March, and Mujeres de HACE and entrepreneurs. So we're really focusing on women today, but you develop seminars and webinars for companies and organizations that want to grow their emerging women leaders into effective managers and executives. And you supported the Mujeres de HACE community as a program lead and offered and facilitated different workshops. Based on your experience and your insight in it, how do you advise companies to champion the development of Afro Latinas in the workplace?
Absolutely. My passion for developing women leaders really comes from my own personal experience. When I graduated law school and I entered the workforce, I was in a male-dominated industry, and I was often the youngest, and sometimes I was the only woman that was sitting at the table. And it was difficult, but I had to learn how to find my voice. I had to learn how to speak up. I had to learn how to raise my hand, how to push back until I finally felt comfortable in my skin. And when I developed confidence and started making moves up the corporate ladder and also within the organization that I was working in, women would come to me and ask me how I was doing it. And I found myself informally mentoring them. And that's about when coaching started to become a thing. And I decided to get certified as a coach and actually formalize some of the mentoring that I was doing. So it's been a wonderful journey to be able to mentor and coach women, particularly Latinas, to climb up the corporate ladder and to really establish their careers with success. And when I talk to companies and I talk to organizations about how they can create environments that can really help other Latinas or Afro Latinas in particular to succeed, I really talk about creating environments of inclusion. Think inclusion is fundamental to any corporation or organization that wants to create an environment where not just Afro Latinas, but people that come from all sorts of diverse backgrounds. Because it's one thing to talk about racial or ethnic background, but what about diversity of thought, diversity of background, socioeconomic diversity as well? And you don't want to pander or cater to a particular group, but what you want to do is you want to ensure that you're creating an environment where people feel like they belong. And that means ensuring that their voices are heard, that they're invited to speak when conversations occur, that they are considered for assignments that will provide visibility and will enhance their career opportunities. And it takes a level of purposefulness and intentionality in order to create that kind of environment so that people not only feel that they are seen, but that they are heard, that they belong, and that they feel welcome in the environment where they choose to work each and every day and contribute to the overall success of an organization.
Ellie, so leadership strategies for women started because you saw the need, right? You saw the gap there, and so of course, right, you got to fill that need and that gap with your expertise. And so that's amazing because then you were able to kind of take that informal relationships that you were building and then actually be more intentional with it. And now, it's really kind of given a lot more direction, I would say, in terms of the work that you're doing and the organizations, because it's reinforcing that same work. And so I think that's just amazing. And you haven't done it for so long, and for all the people that you're impacting, I think. And like you said, it's not just Afro Latinas, it's the diversity and the inclusion, and making sure that people feel heard and seen and represented. And I can say from personal experience, I came from a very white, Caucasian, male dominated industry, and I always felt like that, and I always felt like I had to kind of keep my culture to myself, maybe keep certain things, and so I wasn't being myself. And so I really love the main point here is, even if you're at work, you should be yourself. You should be your authentic self in all the spaces, because that's really what's going to make you happy and bring you peace, and give you some of that direction, right?
Absolutely. And I think that that's where companies that invest in developing and nurturing employee resource groups really make a difference and really make an impact in creating that type of an environment where people feel like they can show up and they belong and they can be their authentic selves. and providing those ERGs with one, a pipeline into corporate decision making in whatever way that's possible, especially when it comes to big organizations that are impacting the marketplace and are trying to reach customers from different backgrounds. But then also so that when the those ERGs also have a level of the tie to the pipeline to the corporation, but also a level of independence so that they can create events that will attract other diverse groups to also cooperate with them. And again, encouraging them to bring their full selves to work so that they can show up as authentically as they can.
I love it. And to the familia, if you're not involved in your company's ERG or business resource group or employee resource group, start one. If you're not involved, get in there, because that's the only way you will be heard, is to ensure that you're there to speak up for yourself and to speak up for others. And so it's not just going to happen, which tends to be our culture. We put our head down and assume that our work is going to speak for ourselves, but we've learned that you have to speak up for yourself in different ways. And sometimes that's, participating in your ERG and speaking up that way with your needs. And so I really love that you speak about that. I want to direct the conversation to robots, to AI, because it's something that you keep hearing about. And every time we say AI, it's either a cringe, I'm scared, or I'm fascinated and I'm embracing it, or kind of in between. I say I'm more so embracing it now and started to use it more, and not even realizing the different ways that you can use it. And so again, Camila, if you haven't gotten out there to use it, look for the ways to use it. But Ellie's going to walk us through. She's going to be sharing a blog post with the Asset Familia here soon about 5 management skills you need to stay ahead of the robots. And since this topic is so relevant today with the advancements that we're seeing and the automation and the impact the artificial intelligence is having on the workplace. So Ellie, can you walk us through those 5 management skills?
Sure, absolutely. And just to provide some context around why it's so important to pay attention to how artificial intelligence is impacting the workplace. We've heard for years now that business leaders and futurists, they've all been debating about how the workplace of the future is going to change and transform. They used to talk about things like telecommuting and virtual teams and augmented reality, automation, but the future's here. We've got Siri, we've got Alexa, we've got things like Google Home. We've all taken these tools and we've integrated them seamlessly into our everyday lives. Siri tries to tell me what to do whenever I turn my iPhone on. So basically, the future really is here, right? So there's no doubt that in addition to having these helpful tools that are helping to make our lives a little easier every day, that AI is also having a huge impact on today's workforce. I can't tell you how many times over the past month I've picked up a newspaper and read about companies that are using AI to transform their processes, their operations, and that has an impact on workers. That's just a reality. I think I remember a statistic from the Pew Research Center that said something like 19% of American workers that their jobs were going to be impacted or exposed to AI in some form or fashion. And this is an important statistic. And I think that might be a little dated from like a year ago, right? So if you think about how far we've come with the development of AI, and frankly, this is not really a new kind of conversation. This conversation has been evolving for years, but I think because of the introduction of ChatGPT a year ago, all of a sudden it's actually hit everybody's radar screen. So we're all talking about it, and now we're all scared, right? But
and,
it's
and talk
important that
about
as we
that,
go ahead.
yeah, talk
What?
about where that comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's important that as we see that these technologies are really interjecting themselves into our day to day, work, that we need to develop management skills that are going to help us to stay ahead. Made a little joke about it. We need to stay ahead of the robots, and I'll walk through some of those management skills. And I think that the first one is really adaptability. And since we're talking about Black History Month, I just want to point everybody to the movie Hidden Figures. It's a great movie that commemorates African American achievement. But I want to reference it here because there's a great storyline in the movie. And the storyline has to do with one of the characters. Her name is Dorothy. And Dorothy's played by Octavia Spencer. And Dorothy learns about the fact that they're about to install an IBM computer in her workplace. And Dorothy has very limited means. She comes from humble beginnings. So when she hears this bit of information, she understands the overall implications of it, and then she starts to spend all of her free time at the public library teaching herself about computer programming. And by the time that the IBM computer is installed in the workplace, Dorothy's actually the only one who knows enough and is now prepared for this change that's overtaking her workplace. And then she gets promoted to lead the team to work with the computer. And basically, she read the writing on the wall, right? She knew that she had to take some necessary steps to adapt to the changing work environment. And the reality is that we all need to do that today. We need to be able to see the writing on the wall, and we need to be able to reposition ourselves so that we can be successful in our careers. So I think it's important that we do research about the industry that we're in. How is AI impacting the industry? What are some of the trends that might impact not just the industry, but our particular company, the particular market that we work in, the job that you're doing, the day-to-day job that you're doing? Is it's might it be that some functions that you're engaging in can be easily replaced with AI? And if that's the case, begin to position yourself for success. Do you have to take do you need to do something to upskill? Is it getting a certificate? Do you have to get an advanced degree? Do you have to, just spend some time like Dorothy at the public library, just reading up on so that you can get caught up on the issues of the day? But it's important that we be adaptable so that we can not only integrate AI into the work that we do, but then also to stay ahead of that robot that's kind of breathing down our neck, maybe prepared to take over our job.
Thank you, Ellie. And please drop your questions in the chat for Ellie. But I really, adaptability, and that's the one thing that we keep hearing. Yes, AI is here. Yes, the robots are here, but we're still here. We still need to be the ones inputting that data. We still need to be the ones typing it in and pushing the buttons. And so our work, like you said, it just becomes something different. What does it look like? What do you need to learn to be at that next level so that your job doesn't go away, right? So that you are keeping up to date and you are a step ahead, because all the AI comes from us. We're the, people are feeding that information. And I think that was my biggest removal of fear once I understood, oh, this isn't just coming from some random computer. This is actually generated from us. And that's why it's so important that communities are represented in that. And so it's people that are in AI are being very intentional to make sure that we're represented in the data that comes there. Because again, there's systems and processes, and we want to make sure that there's equity and inclusion in that too. And so that's why it's so important for us not to turn away from it, but to actually embrace it, I think, as a community, as you said, Emily. So thank you so much for sharing that and giving us that example. And let's all be like Dorothy. I saw Hidden Figures a while ago. I'm gonna go back and watch it, but let's all be like Dorothy, right? Not instead of being afraid, but embracing that change and how am I going to be better because of it, and look at the impact that she had. And so thank you so much
Absolutely.
for sharing that. Yes.
Absolutely. So, the second management skill that I recommend is just information management. As we develop leadership skills for the future, we really need to learn how to manage information, because we're bombarded with information every day, right? We're getting it through our cell phones, our emails, news, this and that. We just get flooded with all types of information. So being able to sort through that information understanding how we can use that information, whether we need it now or whether we'll need that information later to make decisions. Every piece of information that really flows through our desk or through our electronic devices, we need to learn how to manage it. And we need to be able to determine what the utility is of that information that we have access to. So being able to process information, figuring out how we catalog it, how we save it, how we share it, and how we really use that information to give us an edge in our careers is really going to be important and continues to be important. A third management skill would be accountability. As we think about the workplace of the future that is really here today, um, clocking in and clocking out, that's a thing of the past, right? Checking into the office at a certain time, leaving at a certain time is just a thing of the past. Really, it's all about accountability. Companies are moving away from where people work and they're more focused these days on how people work, right? So we need to make sure that regardless of where we are, that we are producing the results that are expected of us, and that we are functioning in an autonomous way. We know we can't always expect in the workplace of the future, which is really today, that someone is there telling us what to do, right? We need to demonstrate autonomous decision making and good judgment in the work that we do. And that means that we're going to be 100% accountable, and we are already 100% accountable for the results that we produce because of this level of autonomy that's expected in the workforce today, especially when AI is playing a role in the background. So that's definitely something that we need to continue to assess. I think another critical management skill that we need to stay ahead of the robots is critical thinking. As AI and automation really take over a lot of the repetitive routines and the functions of our jobs, the value that we really bring to the workforce is our ability to think through complex issues, to develop creative solutions to issues that arise, and being able to analyze situations as they come up, and taking history into account, and thinking people considerations into account, and understanding that we do have diverse perspectives in the workplace and we need to account for those as well. So critical thinking is really foundational and is really needed for strong decision making and career success when we've got now AI doing a lot more analytical number crunching type of operations. And I'll say that the
Lovely.
last, oh, do you have something to say, Bernice? You have a
We
question?
can we can start to wrap up. You can drop the last one, but I definitely want the familia to know that they're going to be able to read the blog post. Drop the last one, and then we'll wrap with the last question.
Yes. So the last skill that you need is emotional intelligence, right? Emotional intelligence is all about being able to perceive and evaluate other people's emotions. So this is one of those key skills that we need to use even today, right? It's one of those skills that we really need to be able to advance successfully in the workplace, is being able to flex to other people's emotions, being able to read the room when you're in it. So emotional intelligence is something that you have to work on even today and into the future. You need to sharpen it even more so that you can continue to operate with success in the workforce. So having that critical judgment skill that comes with emotional intelligence is really a game changer. And it really does set you apart from just somebody who shows up to work and put their head down. Somebody who has emotional intelligence shows up to work every day to be a leader and really to be a game changer.
Ooh, okay, let's all be Dorothy. Let's all be leaders. Let's be game changers. As we approach it, let's embrace the robots. Let's learn about it. Let's get ahead of it. So thank you so much for your message, Ellie. And we're going to be dropping that blog post that Ellie will be creating with these management skills. So look for that to be posted here soon. Ellie, let's wrap up. Tell us something that you're hopeful for the year, or a feel good story that inspires you to do the work that you do.
I'm hopeful that it's a new age, it's a new dawn for all of us. We have some unique opportunities as a Latino community to really step up our game when it comes to using these artificial intelligence tools. It's really a unique opportunity for us to enter a transformative time in our history. So I'm looking forward to myself, continuing to upskill and transform my own career and encouraging other Latinos and particularly Latinas to be able to also leverage some of these transformative tools to transform their own careers.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ellie. And I feel so inspired right now to go and look up AI. And I know there was questions about what tools that we could use. So look for more networking opportunities that will talk about AI and we'll bring more cafecitos to really address this because we know that this is a topic that we really want to talk about and really get familiar with and comfortable with and embrace it again. So thank you so much, Ellie, for joining us today. Thank you so much, Hace Familia. We'll see you again in la próxima. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a great one.